Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, super smart, immersive vacation planning wife, Michelle.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Thank you, baby.
So ridiculous, but we're so glad to have you with us. We're recording this episode on Sunday, September 6th, 2020. A very happy Labor Day weekend to everybody out there, especially to those of you who are cast members at all the Disney parks around the world. We really appreciate all you do to make sure our vacations, our stays, our trips are wonderful, and especially during these weird times that we're going through right now. We really appreciate that. But also we want to make a special shout out to those of you who have been out on the front lines through this entire weird time we're going through, that have had to battle on a day in and day out basis to make sure we're as healthy, as safe as possible. That includes Michelle, by the way. But also not only just the healthcare workers and the first responders, but I also want to shout out to the grocery store workers, the delivery drivers, those of you that have helped keep food coming to us, groceries coming to us, all the things that you've done to make sure we've made it through these last several months. We really appreciate that. And I also want to shout out to everybody out there who is maybe scuffling during this time because maybe your job is either you're on a maybe not a layoff, but some sort of break from your furlough. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. As usual, Michelle saves me. A furlough, a break. Maybe your job did go away, or maybe you have a small business that's struggling right now. Things will get better. And we are here to support you, and we believe in you, and we know that eventually you're going to get back to where you want to be. So please celebrate this Labor Day and know that we are thinking about you, Michelle and myself.
Right. We're rooting for you, and kudos to small businesses.
Yes.
Support small businesses.
So important. Please help the small businesses out there around your community. They are so important to everybody, especially those restaurants that have been struggling. Maybe the small nail, hair, places or whatever. Things that have had difficulty trying to make it through this time and maneuver these circumstances that we're in. So anyway, we move on. Thank you for joining us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there,
you can sign up for the newsletter. And if you did that prior to this week, you actually had some extra little benefits Pixie Dust sent your way for voting purposes.
Yes.
And so it's always a great idea to sign up for that newsletter.
Yeah, please sign up for the newsletter. We're doing a lot of stuff on there. You are usually the first to be in the know if you're signed up in the newsletter of what we have going on around the Hyperion Adventures podcast world, whether it be episodes. We want your input. I put out a link to a new recipe, or sometimes a classic recipe, on the Disney Dishes blog every week. It's just a way to kind of stay in the loop. And as Michelle said last week, and we hope you listened to it because we had so much fun last week with Pat and Charles from the Conversations podcast. Laughed a bunch. I hope if you haven't listened to that episode or watched the YouTube video, by the way, yet, which is maybe even more entertaining than even just listening to the podcast, please do so. But yes, we did have a poll based on all of our pitches that we put out there, Pat, Charles, and myself. And we have a winner.
We
of
do.
That poll.
Drum roll.
Michelle will announce the winner here.
Yes, with 68% of the votes, Jar Jar and the Fat Man was the winner. Good pitch, baby.
Who would have known? All the pitches were great. I think they all would have been great shows. To be honest with you, if I were to vote, my vote probably would have gone with Pat's. I thought that his pitch for what was it? Masters of the Order. Thank you very much. Boy, Michelle saving my bacon already in this show. Masters of the Order with Plo Koon and Kit Fisto, and looking for younglings to bring into to teach them the ways of the Force from across the galaxy. I think is a fascinating pitch, and I would love to see that actually made into a Star Wars series. But we had a lot of fun with it. If you didn't hear our pitches, they're entertaining.
Right,
they're
Charles's
fun.
was great. Also,
Charles was great.
I would have voted for that. that.
Michelle's had some great pitches of her own that she threw out there before we even got started. So please, if you haven't listened to that episode, please go check that out.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We really appreciate that they joined us and did an amazing job with some awesome ideas. And it was, like you said, it was so much fun. And if you haven't, like you said, if you haven't listened to it or seen it, you will not be disappointed.
No, not at all. You will laugh a lot along with us. So also on the newsletter this week, we announced our next category for our Hyperion Adventures Disney Hall of Fame. That's out there now. I put it out on social media as well. But in case you're not on one of those things, if you're not listening, subscribe to the newsletter or following us on social media, why aren't you? But if you're not, here's what we're looking for this week. We'll have one more week to gather nominations for it, and then we'll put it up and we'll tell you who it will be on the final ballot. So this category is a parks category.
I love it.
It is Best Classic Disney Park Attractions. So basically anything that was open in Disneyland or the Walt Disney World Resort prior to 1990, so it's at least 30 years old, is going to be up for, and it can be past or present. They don't need to still exist. If it was something you really love that doesn't exist anymore, or there's only, it's only in one park or the other, that's fine. As long as it was open before 1990, it is up for nomination. So please get those votes in. Tell us your top 5 favorite classic Disney park attractions.
Yeah, I was really excited to see that you created that topic, and I think it's going to be a struggle to really even narrow down to 5 for the nominations.
All these are struggles. I mean, last time when we were doing the sidekicks, I was just talking to you yesterday. I wish I'd put that one on my list too. I wish that one had made a nomination because they're just so tough. But still, it's a lot of these, we get enough votes in. A lot of them, even if you don't necessarily think they're going to make it, somebody else will vote for them, and a lot of times they will make it on the final ballot, and then it becomes a little bit easier to kind of vote for them as they make it that far. So. And as I mentioned, we did put it out on social media. Hopefully you were following us on social media. If you're not, you can check us out on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We are, as I already talked about, on YouTube. You could watch a lot of our episodes on YouTube. We release those usually Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how slow I am at video editing.
It's just the complexity sometimes.
Yeah, I am the sloth of video editing for sure. But if you want to find us on YouTube, you just do a search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We'll come up. If you hit subscribe, then anytime we have a new video, you will know about it and you can watch it at your leisure.
Yeah, and hopefully you all have had a chance to check those out and you enjoyed them. And please give us some feedback. We love it.
Yeah, we do. We love all that feedback from everybody out there. And also, if you ever want to contact us for any reason, you can always email us at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventurespodcast@gmail.com.
Right. We love hearing from people. We get a lot of great feedback. We get some actual great ideas, just feedback. We love it. We appreciate it. And even constructive criticism. We really do take that into consideration and really appreciate it.
Yeah. Any way we can be more interactive with you. If you want to just say hi, if you want to say we're going to the parks, are you going to be heading out there? We can meet up. Or, if you want to suggest a topic, whatever the case may be, please hit us up at our Gmail account. Also, we love reviews. Reviews are very helpful to us. I mean, obviously the easiest way for people to find out about the show is to tell a friend.
Right.
But reviews help in other ways in regards to when people do a search for podcasts. A lot of times shows that get more reviews, higher ratings will come up more quickly. And so people who maybe not have the idea that we even exist out there, they will find out about us. As a matter of fact, we did get a review this week, a 5-star review. It's very kind. And here it is. It's called, it was titled Great Fun Show with an exclamation point. We always appreciate the exclamation points. Says, love the show. It's fun, informative, and a great way to spend some time. And that is from Snow White RP. So I don't know who you are, Snow White RP, but thank you very much for the review. We really appreciate it. If you leave a review, we will read them on the air as well. So
that's so sweet. Thank you.
Yes, we really appreciate it so very much. So on to today's show. We have lots of stuff for you on today's show, including we now know when we'll get to revisit the Clan of Two in a galaxy far, far far away. We'll talk a bit about that. One of the most hard rockin' bands is reportedly reworking one of its bigger hits for an upcoming Disney film. What's that about? Who's the band? We'll tell you about that. And there are more dining options that are getting ready to reopen at the Walt Disney World Resort. Fun. Yeah. Yes. So
I may be sharing some of that in my presentation.
Oh, well, she may be beating my story
I
a bit
might
to the
be.
punch. I may not have to read the story later, but as long as it gets told one way or the other, Michelle will do a great job at it. It's all fine. So let's get to our main topic of the week. So yes, this week we are going to explore maybe some ideas for planning an immersive Disney vacation, whether it be for the entire vacation or just a day, an afternoon, whatever the case may be. We're going to give you a few ideas. There are so many ways to have an immersive Disney vacation. We can't possibly cover them all, but we're going to go through a few of them that we think, it might be some fun for you.
Right. And, even if you're a veteran of going to the parks, it's just taking that moment to look at it differently and appreciate it in another way and have some additional fun than what you would expect.
Yeah. If you've gone to the parks, maybe you've done a ride heavy day, attraction heavy day, whatever the case may be, you've gone numerous times and you're looking to, kind of explore them in a different way, or maybe it's for a different kind of celebration. Maybe you're going as adults without the kids for one of the first times ever, whatever the case may be. We're going to try and give you some ideas on ways to explore the parks. But again, there are so many different things you can do to immerse yourself in whatever particular category you want to. We can't possibly get them all, but we think we found some cool ones that you might be interested in.
Right. It was, like you said, there is a lot. It was kind of hard to narrow for the sake of having a podcast episode be within reasonable time. I did too. I think you
I did too as well. Yes.
Okay.
So, and I don't know about for Michelle, I did this based on, well, for one thing, we're talking about Disneyland, like Disneyland's actually open, hopefully they'll be soon. We'll see. But also, for when times are a little more standard, maybe, and there could be some things that have been open in the past that I'm telling you about right now that there's possible they may not open in the same way, but just without that knowledge going into it, I'm just going to go based on what we know as what the parks, what the resorts would kind of be like if everything gets and when everything kind of gets back to the way we've experienced it for so many years.
Yeah, I think similarly, I approached it. I did, highlight what you can do now and then throw in some things of what we've experienced in the past that hopefully, like you said, will come back either the same or close to what our experiences have been. But that way, if somebody's got some plans coming up in the near future and things aren't fully open, you still can have a way to approach the parks in an immersive type of vacation planning. And if you're brand new to go to the parks, hopefully this will be helpful to say, hey, Disney World has a lot to offer that I wasn't focused on that direction, and maybe I need to, whether it's one of our topics or another thing that draws you to the parks, say, hey, I'm going to research that aspect of it.
Right. So, take it with a grain of salt, knowing if you're planning a trip for next week or next month even, or maybe even a couple months from now, some of these things may not be available to you or available to you in the way that we're proposing. But if they are, and when they do, because I believe that things are at some point going to get back to what we know as normal out of the parks, then you can maybe look towards doing one of these things, or you create your own immersive Disney vacation, and maybe some of these will be some ideas that will lead you to what you're looking for. So let's start with Michelle and her first pick at an immersive vacation. I think I know one that she's done, but I don't know both of them, so I'm interested.
You might not.
Probably not.
Because I think one of the things we talked about was doing a princess one. And I thought about that. I feel like a lot of people know about going with that concept, whether they're taking, like you said, if it's just for couples or with kids. So I kind of wanted to go a little bit off the beaten path.
I knew I should have taken the princess one.
I
was
know.
like, I'd be kind of funny if I did the princess one. And I'm like, no, when it's all said and done, probably the female of us, really talking about princesses would probably make more sense for people. Should have taken the princesses one.
When you had the chance,
Shoot.
We can look forward to another episode on immersive vacationing.
Yes. I guess so. Anyway, I am interested to hear what you're going to talk about.
So my first one is romance.
Oh.
I have Vicky and Minnie here.
Oh, so cute.
The ultimate.
I don't know if you can see them on the camera here,
Right.
but Cinderella and Prince Charming
That's
are
right.
behind us.
See,
Yes.
that's why, again, I asked for this display.
Yes.
So talking about romance, and again, you're thinking, maybe as a couple. All right. So starting, and the way I approached it was like, where would be a great place to stay? What are some activities that would be immersive into that topic? And then obviously eateries as well. So first of all, looking at where to stay, and what I would recommend in this topic is the Riviera. I mean, this place is truly a love letter from Walt to Lillian, and throughout the whole resort you really feel that, the photos that are around, the artifacts, mosaics, everything just really emphasizes love, and whether it's love for each other or love of having dreams that come true, it's all there, and it's really evident right from the moment that you walk in. Unlike some of the other resorts that have these very grand, spacious lobbies, the Riviera is more of a quaint type of a lobby. It's not as large. It has great seating areas with couches, etc. And you just feel that, you're really transported like into Europe. More of a, like what you would think in a European type of resort, more boutique kind of a feel to them. The color schemes all reflect, France and Italy, what you would expect to see there. So it really, that theming comes through. And like I said, you can really feel transported into another area. And even throughout the resort, like when you go to the outdoor area, whether you're looking at the pools or the playground, it has a different feel. It has that, chic European sense to it that makes it fun. It's not standoffish. It's comfortable beauty.
Right.
And that's how I would say just entering.
It's a beautiful resort. It
really is. It really, really is. So the next thing to look at is, where would you eat for a romantic type of a vacation? So, looking at different meals in the morning, you'd probably want to stay right there and eat at Le Petit Café. And that is just, again, screams French patisserie. You can have your lattes there. It's just really I don't know how to quaint, I guess, still going back to that topic.
When we went there, Michelle was a little speculative because Michelle is a bit of a croissant snob. There's she's like, okay, we're going to get from La Halle.
Right.
And they're fine. Those are real French croissants. But, anywhere else in the Disney resort, they're more like, she's convinced they're going to be more like crescents. But I was able to get one, purchased one, brought it to her, and I think you'd agree.
Yes, it was delicious. It was lovely, and yes, it fit the bill. It was authentic tastes, etc. Yes.
So a nice croissant there at the La Petite Cafe is perfect for breakfast with a cafe au lait or some sort of espresso or something like that.
Yes. I mean, they have pastries there in the, throughout the day, they do change up what's available there to have, in the afternoon, evening. You can also get a cocktail there. It's just really, it's again, a very easy to access, quaint little shop, very, very open spaced and lovely,
Very nice.
Another place that would be fun and romantic, and you might laugh at this, but and because when I first thought of it, I was like, wouldn't it be? But the sci-fi dine-in.
Wow. I've heard the sci-fi dine-in considered a lot of things. Romantic, that's the first time I've heard of it, but let's hear you out.
Well, I mean, you're in a car. You can have some like G-rated smooching going on there. A little makeout,
These other families are in the car with you.
Hopefully you get the back seat.
Yeah. In the back row.
Back row. Yeah. I mean, come on. Just take advantage of, don't go overboard, obviously, but, and just a little, kind of like a date feel. You're at a drive-in.
I actually can see that as kind of a, if you're going to look for a fun kind of corny way to have to throw back to the days of the drive-in when you get together in the car and you're there watching some funny B movie or whatever, even a better movie than that, and so you're there and the movie isn't that entertaining, but your company is. So, you take advantage of it. Yeah.
See, it's all in how you look at it, right?
Let's keep it in check. It is a family-friendly restaurant, folks, okay? It's a little dark in there. You may be in the back row, but back off a little bit on the romance.
In the evening, right now you could enjoy Topolino's back again at the Riviera. We've experienced that resort and that restaurant, and it's phenomenal. Excellent. It is phenomenal. It's and one of the interesting things, and I know we've said this in the past, but I think it bears repeating with this topic, is even though you could, there's ambient noises going around, it was easy to have a conversation between the two of us. And I don't, the way that they've had it set up that you can do that is just fabulous, because it didn't feel like we were trying to shout or that, hey, let's not even bother trying to talk. It's just too noisy here and we'll just enjoy the food. But we really were able to easily have a conversation throughout our meal. And the meals were, as I said, superb. Yeah. They were
one of our favorite restaurants,
right?
Now,
yeah,
at all the resorts for sure.
Exactly, and coming soon, Cinderella's Royal Table.
Yes, coming back.
Yeah, it will be reopening for September 25th. Reservations will start being able to be done on September 11th. So that's really great news. And again, another romantic location. It will be Sans Princesses
for the time being.
For the time being, but. I've gone into that restaurant without princesses, and it really is romantic.
She's a princess anywhere she goes, so we don't need other princesses.
Yes, they all scurried away.
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, she's here. We cannot live up to Michelle. We'll come back when she's done.
I really don't feel that way.
I do.
Oh, you're sweet. But anyway, so that's really a fun way to have that romantic sense. You're in a castle filled with fairy tale and all around you. And so that emanates romance to me. I don't know about to you.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Well, thank you. Now, there's a few things that currently are opening that once they start opening and reopening, I should say, would be great to incorporate in your immersive romantic vacation planning. Tea for two at the Grand Floridian Garden Cafe.
Right.
We've done that numerous
so many times.
And, one, it's just a really nice break away from all the hustle and bustle anyways. But it really, you do get your fill of food. Even though it's just little sandwiches and pastries and things, you leave there. We always walk out with boxes. Yeah. And it's just a nice romantic way to spend time together. And again, really be able to have conversations and sharing, the fun that you're having there.
Yeah. And you have a nice view. You're at the Grand Floridian, which is an elegant resort as it is. And then you have this it's kind of on the back edge of it. So you have this great view outside looking towards kind of the pool area and the back of the resort itself. Sure. And it's just a really nice, quaint way to spend the day. And yes, it's nice if you want to, maybe dress up a little bit more and a little nicer to go in there. But they know that these are people who are on resort stays, maybe have come from the parks or whatever. So they're not particular. I mean, you don't want to go in there with a bathing suit and flip-flops.
Right.
But it's not like you can't go in there in shorts and a T-shirt, and be okay.
Exactly. So another thing that is very romantic is at Epcot at the France Pavilion, going upstairs to Monsieur Paul. That restaurant is beautiful. Again, the food presentations are what are really impressive as well. They are just stunning. And again, you're overlooking, World Showcase, and you're just in a very beautiful French atmosphere.
Yeah, elegant dining, by the way. It's it's French cuisine to its extreme.
Right.
It's exactly what you expect when you learn about French cuisine. That is what comes from Monsieur Paul.
Right.
So if you're expecting like giant portions, you're not going to get that. That's just not what it's about. But it's
but they're not itty bitty.
No,
either.
but they're elegantly placed, really rich, wonderful sauces, delicate, different, seafood and such. It's just the stuff. If you ever learned about what French cuisine is,
Right.
You can go to Monsieur Paul, and that is pretty much it's laid out there right in front of you.
Right. And they're very gracious. I know that we had shown interest in some of the dishes, and the chef actually came out and asked to answer any questions. And I'm sure if you have any issues with food allergies, they always ask up front anyways. But, they're willing to make accommodations for that as well. Like I said, they're very gracious there. And so truly a wonderful experience.
Yes, for sure. And great views in the evening as well. So once the fireworks spectaculars begin again,
right.
You get a great view over World Showcase and
exactly.
And whatever is going on out there.
Yeah.
It's just nice.
Right.
Really
if you get
nice.
a window view, you can do some fun people watching.
Right.
Too.
And it's upstairs.
Right.
So you kind of get this great view looking down upon everything. Yeah.
Obviously, one that people know about as being utterly romantic is having dinner at Victoria and Albert at Grand Floridian. Also not currently open, but definitely fits the bill for a romantic.
If you're looking to splurge, that's the place.
Right. And another one that, again, might not initially hook up as romantic, but if you think about it more, is the Spirit of Aloha dinner show. And again, it's a family-friendly event where you have kind of like all you can eat and great food, the essence of Hawaii. But, when you think about Hawaii and honeymoons and things like that, they kind of go together. So
it's true.
I kind of thought it would be obviously a way to have a romantic evening.
Right. Now we don't
under the stars.
The Spirit of Aloha obviously not going on right now, and we don't know for sure when it's coming back, being as we just got news this week that the Polynesian resort is going through some refurbishment for the next several months. As a matter of fact, they're not going to open most of their rooms again up until way in summer of 2021.
Right.
So probably we can expect that won't be around for at least that time. But once it gets back, I would imagine they'll get back to it. Maybe, they can even upgrade it a little bit. It'll be nicer, but we'll see what comes of that.
Yeah. It's, again, the atmosphere being outside is really, It feels Hawaiian.
Yeah, I've not been to that. I've been to many luau's, especially with her. I've not been to that one, but I know Michelle has. And I know you've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about some activities.
Okay.
Some romantic activities. And the first one, again, it's going to sound corny, but just doing a hand-holding stroll around World Showcase at Epcot. Again, if you've been to the parks tons of times like we have, having that approach to say, okay, I'm with my best friend, the love of my life, and I'm just going to go into each country and feel just the joy of sharing that experience together. And especially nowadays, being transported out of the craziness that the world is going through for so many reasons, why not take that time to just to have that romance together?
Agreed. And very nice. And I enjoy that very much.
Yes.
We do that all the time, and we enjoy it a lot. It's one of our favorite things to do whenever we're at the Walt Disney World Resort.
Exactly. Another fun and unique activity, romantic activity you could do would be rent a cabana. a poolside cabana. One, you feel kind of like a VIP, but again, it can just be the two of you sharing that time together. I'd probably recommend doing it earlier in the day before all the parks let out and the kids come with their families. Not that that's bad or anything like that. And you still have, your sense of privacy in the cabana, but just to have a little bit more opportunity for some alone time.
Plus, if you're splurging on a cabana, take advantage of it as much as possible.
Exactly. So they are available right now at the Grand Floridian Resort, the Disney's Contemporary Resort, Beach Club Villas, and the Yacht Club Resort. Okay. So they are currently there. If you want to do that, you can go online and check for the number to call for reservations of those. Yeah. So, and then there's obviously activities once things reopen more that, go along with the romantic theme. So one of them that you can start planning for now is the Drawn to Life. It's the Cirque du Soleil show that if you are interested in purchasing tickets starting for February, those are available online. Oh. And so it's already there. You can see the stadium seating. You can pick the location that you want to. They have February and March right now available for not every day, but throughout the month. And so you can start actually booking those reservations if you have some plans coming up for February or March.
It's good to know because I wasn't even sure if it was coming back because that show started right around this time, this craziness started happening. And so I was like, I don't even know if it's going to exist anymore, if we're ever going to get a chance to see it ourselves, because we were excited about it. Right. And we saw so much about it at the D23 Expo. Mm-hmm. So it's good to know that it's still around. Right.
I mean, you never know. Things may change again, but at least for right now, you can set it up in your plans if you're looking for those months.
Nice.
Right. Another really romantic, easy and not very expensive is a horse-drawn carriage ride, and they used to offer those at Fort Wilderness Resorts in Port Orleans.
Right.
So that's a nice little romantic, horse-drawn carriage together.
We've talked about doing that at some point as we walk by the Fort Wilderness one often. We're like, oh, maybe we should do that sometime, and we just never have taken advantage of it at this point.
I know. Especially around the holidays too.
Right. Sure.
So another fun romantic thing that you hopefully will be able to do in the near future would be, is, let's say, indulge your senses in a spa treatment, whether you're doing it as a couples or you're each having some alone time to then share about later on. It's a fun thing to do.
There you go.
Another thing you could do is that we've talked about doing, we've seen from our resort window many times, is renting a pontoon boat, with a captain, obviously, to take you out over the Bay Lake.
Mm-hmm. Or into Seven Seas
Lagoon. Yeah. Whether you go in the daytime and just enjoy some snacks, and beverages out there, or if you want to upgrade that to arrange for a fireworks cruise, those are really, really enjoyable. It comes with snacks and some sodas, but you can upgrade to actually making it a dining experience with really nice food.
Or decorations added if you're celebrating an anniversary or whatever, a birthday, whatever. We've seen that many times. We've looked down there. We stay at Bay Lake Towers and we can see them getting the pontoon boats ready. Right. And some are just pretty plain Jane. They're going out. They're just going to have a nice night watching the fireworks or whatever. But some they deck out pretty extremely. And it's pretty cool.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I mean, and if you really want to splurge and you have the money to do that, you could actually rent the Grand One yacht.
That's a splurge, all right.
It is a splurge. I could see it being a really romantic way to propose to somebody, right?
Oh, that's for sure.
Or just be romantic together. But again, it's also you have the ability to expand, whether having a chef on board and serving you food or whatever, however you want to expand that if you have that opportunity. But that would be a real romantic splurge. Huh?
Yeah, definitely. If you're looking to go all out, that's a good way to do it for sure.
Right. So that is my initial rollout of an immersive romantic vacation.
Well done. I don't know if mine compares, as usual, Michelle's stuff is always the best stuff. I don't know if either of mine compared to that. So that's very well done. Good job,
thank
Michelle.
you.
Good job.
Thank you.
we're ready for a romantic vacation. We could
Yes,
use one right now.
yes.
Not that every day here with you isn't romantic. Not that doing the show isn't romantic.
That's true.
But I would love to do a romantic vacation or day with you at the Walt
Exactly.
Disney World Resort. For sure.
Yep.
So. All right, so I'm going to go with mine next, and I'm going to kind of explore some ideas if you wanted to do either a foodie day or a foodie vacation. And while you can do this at the Disneyland Resort, there are plenty of great restaurants, plenty of great spots for food, especially when the festivals are going on, whether it be the Festival of the Holidays or the California Adventure Food and Wine Festival, whatever the case may be. You can have some great food and try some great things out. But I feel like if you really want to do a foodie vacation or a foodie couple days, that Walt Disney World is the better place to go for that. So, and we'll just start with the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival, which is late summer into fall. If you want to just go and explore some creative dishes done in unique ways that explore a lot of different flavor profiles, textures, everything you really want to know is you want to experience as a foodie. It's a great way to do it, and you get small plates, so you can sample a lot of different things. So great. Yes, the International Food and Wine Festival is the most famous of that and has the most of the food, obviously. But their other festivals also work well as well. If you want to do the Epcot International Festival of the Holidays, which runs through most of December. The Epcot International Festival of the Arts from mid-January through most of February has really beautiful dishes to go along with the arts theme as well as flavorful, and they're great.
Yeah, that one actually has continued to grow with creativity, I think, and I've really become a big fan of that festival each year.
Yeah, I think it's underrated. I think the Arts Festival is extremely underrated. I think the obviously the Food and Wine Festival gets most of the love, probably followed by the Flower and Garden Festival, which is the next one I'm going to mention here. But I find the Arts Festival is highly underrated. And it is really a wonderful experience. And it's also usually not as crowded a time to go because it's like immediately after the holidays. So all the crowded periods before we get to spring, it can be a little chillier out there, which is rare for Florida, but it can be a little chillier. So be aware of that. But usually the crowds aren't bad. And this is a really great experience to check out.
Yes. I find that festival has more visually beautiful food that they're serving at the different kiosks. So.
So definitely I would highly encourage that. But also, yes, as I mentioned, the Flower and Garden Festival, where they really explore a lot of the things that are grown throughout our communities. They usually use a lot of the different ingredients that you could find around the world, around our country, and along with the wonderful topiaries and all that. It's really, really an excellent experience as well. And it's a great time to walk around if you want a romantic day in the parks.
That's
Flower and Garden Festival is phenomenal for that. So also, if you're going to be at Epcot anyway and you're looking for food, be sure to go through Living with the Land to see how food can be grown. There are different ways they're trying to create more food, make food easier to grow. Yes, exactly. And then you can go and stop at Sunshine Seasons or or if you want to sit down, a more regular sit down meal, the Garden Grill, and you can sample some of the stuff that they grow right there at Living with the Land, which is kind of interesting. So also Epcot, if you don't want to fill up on completely on your small plates as you go from kiosk to kiosk, there are some exquisite restaurants within Epcot to fulfill your foodie wishes if you want. You already talked about Monsieur Paul in the France Pavilion, which has the wonderful delicate dishes created in the classic French style all the way back to Escoffier. Just amazing food. Like I said, you're not looking to, if you're used to the giant plates of barbecue and all that, that is not what you're getting there, but it is wonderfully prepared food in a very romantic setting. If you want something more interesting and spicy, you might want to go to Morocco and try Restaurant Marrakesh. Features dishes with a North African kind of Middle Eastern flair, some great spices, great flavors. Also, Spice Road Table, which is another wonderful spot that it has really great food as well.
In both of those restaurants, I really appreciate how the cast members can really help guide you to what type of foods you like and to kind of give great recommendations.
Yeah, especially when we're in the times when they actually had the people from the countries that come out there. Unfortunately right now, because travel is restricted, we don't have that benefit at this moment. But when you're there, it is normally when you have people from those countries actually helping you with the food, they can kind of help describe these things for you and help you through if you're maybe a little questionable about what am I actually eating here, if you don't know the level of spice,
etc.
Exactly. So another great place, not brand new, but fairly new, is Takomate over in Japan, which is spectacular Japanese-inspired food, Wagyu beef, duck, sushi. They have a tasting menu. There's a la carte plates as you want. They also have a chef's table if you want. This is one I should have actually, I didn't look it up when we were doing our luxury one, but they have a chef's table there for $180 per person. If you want to have a beverage pairing with 6 of the courses, it's a 9-course meal, by the way. It's another $100 on top of that, but it's a 3-hour dining experience for 6 to 8 people, and it just sounds magnificent. If you kind of like Japanese cuisine, it seems like a really elegant and wonderful way to spend a foodie evening.
Exactly. I have read a review on that, and it just sounded spectacular, and definitely something, if you could try out, it would be a great, wonderful food experience and VIP experience.
Yes, for sure. Now, if you just want something more of a classic steakhouse, you're looking for a steak and potatoes or whatever, Le Cellier in Canada is a really wonderful classic steakhouse with a little bit of a Canadian twist to it, obviously, being in the Canada Pavilion. But they have great steaks, seafoods, chops. It's an excellent restaurant to go check out, for sure.
Not always easy to get into.
No. But we've found regularly now, especially if you go, even if you can't get a reservation early, check in. If you get to Epcot during the day, go to guest services and check out, because a lot of times things will pop up and become available. You just never know for sure. So it can't hurt to try, even if you can't land that reservation right away. So if you're going to go, and I wouldn't say Magic Kingdom is the best spot for a foodie vacation, but there are some good restaurants there. At least there's a couple that we really appreciate. And it's one of these places is one that we go to every single time we have a trip to Magic Kingdom, and that is the Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen.
It's awesome.
Now, it sounds quirky because yes, it's a restaurant that's focused on the Jungle Cruise. It's based on the Jungle Cruise. They have some of the same Jungle Cruise kind of jokes going on throughout it, whether you sometimes told by your host, sometimes you just experience them as you're walking through the room and checking out some of the stuff. But they really have exotic and interesting food combinations. It's a lot of Asian fusion, South American dishes, African-inspired dishes. It really is a wonderful exploration of some interesting styles of food that you may not get to experience many other places.
That is so true. And I can't say I'm the most adventurous for foods. I can't say I'm to the extreme where it's just all, meat and potatoes kind of girl. But I have caution with some dishes, and I have found that this has been a great experience for me because they do have some really unique things. I love how they have, with their seafood, they have, what is currently fresh. So, what you taste one visit might not be there the next, but you might have something even more wonderful that you weren't ever expecting to try. And they're really helpful again also at trying to guide you at what things would be, something that you would appreciate with your palate.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of great stuff there. It's I love everything I've tried there. I've really loved so much, and they have a great wine list. It's an excellent restaurant, and I highly recommend it. It is a bright spot within the, not that there is great food throughout the Magic Kingdom, but as far as a sit down dining establishment with interesting flavor profiles, I find that to be the best.
Exactly. The quality of the food and the quality of the menu selections is better than I think what you would see at a lot of the a lot of the restaurants at Magic Kingdom.
I also have to put up Be Our Guest at Magic Kingdom as well. A little tougher to get into. You usually have to make that reservation early on to get that because it's very popular. But they have great food. French fare inspired by Beauty and the Beast, obviously, Be Our Guest. And if you're looking for a little bit of a quieter surrounding, like the main ballroom can get a little noisy, we've noticed when we've been in there. Ask for a table in either the West Wing or the Castle Gallery, a little bit more, if you want a little bit quieter. But they have very good food there. Again, it's kind of fun play on Beauty and the Beast
Right.
fare, inspired by that. But there really is some good quality French dishes, and
Right.
I know you love the escargot.
That's true. Love to have some right now.
I'm not going to get to work on that today, but we'll get something going. There's also, if you were going to Disney's Hollywood Studios, I think a place for maybe a foodie is to go to a foodieist. Is that right?
I don't know. It's
Foodie?
Just like,
I guess it's just a foodie. Is to go. I think the Hollywood Brown Derby.
Right.
If you're looking for some classic Hollywood, old school Hollywood
Yes.
inspired dishes, they have some really, really wonderful food there. Classic cocktails.
Yes.
I mean, it really is old school. But it's a really interesting and delicious fare.
Right. And I think they've, even though they have like the old school menu items, they do it in a healthy way too. So it's not like you're feeling like, oh, I'm having something that has a lot of, heavy calories or grease or anything like that. But it is truly a wonderful place.
Yeah, I agree. As far as Disney's Animal Kingdom, we like Tiffin's a lot.
Yes.
I guess the Nomad Lounge is fine if you just want a break and some small plates and some cocktails. But Tiffin's itself, if you want to have a real nice dinner, it's a wonderful place. They have exotic flavors from around the world, things like charred octopus. I really like the tamarind braised short ribs that they have there. I've gotten that many times.
Right.
I think it's fantastic. And you're in this wonderful setting that's loaded with all this artwork and stuff that was inspired from the Imagineers trips around the globe to
Right.
kind of get inspiration for how they were going to build the Animal Kingdom park. And it's just a really cool location.
Sure. And even though they do have some exotic things that not everybody would be drawn to, they have other dishes that are ones that you might be more familiar with what the ingredients are and feel comfortable there. But yes, as you're saying, as a foodie and you want to try unique things, that is a great restaurant to try out.
Yeah. Again, as somebody who is a foodie, when you're looking to try, go out and eat, a lot of times you're looking for things that maybe you haven't experienced
Right.
before, flavor profiles that you haven't necessarily experienced before or haven't experienced in a certain way. And a lot of these restaurants that I'm suggesting to you do things in a little bit different way that maybe you're not getting at your average restaurant around where you live or whatever the case may be.
Right. And we've gone with family that have had, kids, teens or preteens and younger, and haven't had a need to necessarily order off the kids menu to still appreciate that restaurant.
Yeah, very much so. So they know what their clientele is.
Right.
They are going to have things that maybe somebody that wants to try something more exotic will be there, but they also know they'll have kids there,
Right.
and some people that maybe are a little more particular in what kind of food they're eating.
Right.
So they will have things that will appeal to many different
Right.
palates. Now, if you're really looking to go dine, the resort fare around, you can go and have some great foodie
Right.
experiences without using up a park ticket or an
Right.
annual pass or whatever, because there are some amazing restaurants throughout the resorts. And I can't go through nearly all of them. I'm just going to go through a few of them here. And I'm going to start with over at the Animal Kingdom Lodge over at Sanaa.
Right.
I think it's a spectacular place for a foodie to try.
Yes.
The exotic flavors of kind of Eastern Africa, and they have a wonderful wine list there, mostly African wines, which you just can't find a lot
Right.
of different places. I mean, just go there for the bread service alone.
Yes.
And which you can, by the way, get if you don't want to just go and get a full reservation there and have a full meal. The lounge has great cocktails,
Right.
that same wine list, and you can get the bread service right there in the lounge. Really interesting. I would highly recommend. It's a trek to get to the Animal
Right.
Kingdom if you're a lodge, if you're not staying there, but this meal is worth that
Yeah,
trek.
it really is. It really is. And if you try, if you plan it well, you could plan it like following a trip over to Animal Kingdom and then just take the bus over to the lodge.
Plus, they have great views of the animals right
Yes.
outside. So you're there, you're eating this wonderful exotic meal full of interesting,
Right.
fantastic flavors. And then there's a zebra out there and a giraffe,
Right.
and
Right.
it's just kind of cool. And it's just one of our favorite spots and a place that we will go out of our way for
Sure.
a lot of times. We've stayed at the Animal Kingdom Lodge many times, but it's worth taking the extra
Right.
step to get out there to try the food. Like I said, the bread service alone.
Yes, it's pretty special.
If you don't know what the bread service is, they give you all this kind of flatbreads, different kinds of flatbreads, and then they have like 9 different sauces that go from sweet to spicy, and they kind of range up and around, and you mix and match. You get savory and and sweet and salty, sweet and spicy, kind of somewhere in between, creamy. There's all sorts of flavors. It'll just wow you when you're trying the bread service.
It is a definite wow experience. Yes.
And it also hits very just different palates, because maybe some people like more of the spicy stuff.
Right.
Some people like more sweet stuff, more creamy, whatever it is. There's like some sour in there, some things like that. If you like any different things, there may be one sauce you like more than the others, or a combination you like more than the others. So definitely worth a try. Another great spot is the California Grill at the Contemporary Resort. California cuisine inspired dishes with fresh seasonal ingredients, something like the Sonoma goat cheese ravioli. But also you're up top of the Contemporary with spectacular views. When the fireworks spectaculars get going again, you get to walk out on the deck and get a great view of the Magic Kingdom fireworks. So good. And they also have a great brunch. At least we have not experienced the brunch there yet, but our great friend Rob LeBerry and his wife Kim from the Hoop-de-Duo Disney Review, by the way, check out that podcast. They've said that to go there, and one of their favorite things about them is the bottomless mimosas, which sells me, which sometime we have to try. But going back to dinner, they have a wine list that's over 300 bottles of wine. So if there's something you like out there, it's bound they're probably going to have it. So definitely a place to check out. You already talked about Topolino's Terrace. Yeah. Fresh made pastas, excellent seafood dishes, great views of Epcot and Hollywood Studios. When the fireworks are going there, you get to see them from up there if you're out there at the right time. Just a wonderful place to eat. And now we're going to go to the Grand Floridian Resort, which is if you're going to splurge and you're going to dine, do a lot of fine dining, you might as well just go ahead and stay at the Grand Floridian Resort, because they have a couple great restaurants there, as well as the tea that you mentioned. Citrico's wonderful restaurant, Mediterranean inspired dishes, stuff like octopus a la plancha and pepper spiced shrimp, wonderful wine list, elegant spot. Just another great restaurant to hit up. And then, yes, as Michelle already brought up, they also have Victoria and Albert's there, which has earned the AAA 5 Diamond Award every year since 2000, 20 years of that award, which is not an easy award to get. Contemporary American cuisine, amazing food, even better service. It'll be one of the best meals you've ever had in your life, if not the very best meal you've had. It may be the most expensive meal you've ever had in your life, but you can argue that it may very well be worth it.
Yeah, something very memorable.
Oh yeah, for sure. So if you're really willing to splurge, it's well worth the effort. Now, also, before I give up the foodie day or foodie vacation, we need to talk a little bit about Disney Springs as well, because there are great restaurants at Disney Springs that you can go hit up if you don't know any better, including they have a few restaurants actually with celebrity chefs behind them, including Jaleo from Chef Jose Andres, who does a lot of Latin inspired wonderful exquisite dishes. Morimoto Asia, of course, the Iron Chef, Masahiro Morimoto, easy for me to say.
He did well.
Just elegant Japanese, Asian inspired dishes that just really over the top. But there's also some other fantastic restaurants there as well. Wine Bar George is supposed to be fantastic. The Boathouse, I've heard great things about. But there's a slew of great restaurants there if you just want to go and find a good evening dinner somewhere that you can find right there at Disney Springs.
Right, exactly. And so, especially now when there are restrictions of going to different resorts, unless you have an actual table service reservation, that would be another option that you could use, especially in the evening as the park's closing, to have that foodie experience.
Right. So those are just some suggestions. I'm not going to really build out the day for you, but it just kind of give you some ideas of places that if you want to have your vacation wrapped more around food, that, look at these festivals, look at these restaurants, these resorts, and plan your days around them as you're going in. Now, a lot of these restaurants you're going to want to have advanced dining reservations for, because they will get tough to get into. But you work at it and you get those reservations, and believe me, every restaurant that I mentioned will be well worth your time.
Absolutely. And I mean, like you said, there's so many to try that you could try different ones with different visits. The nice thing about a lot of these places is that you can have another experience going back to the same location. So if something that you wanted to get into might not be available, don't be afraid to go back and try other dishes.
Right. And a lot of these places like Topolino's and Sanaa, maybe you went to the Food and Wine Festival or the Flower and Garden Festival or whatever, and you did a lot of eating out there that day, and maybe you don't want a full meal. You can go there without a reservation, get into the lounge, get a nice cocktail, get the bread service or whatever, and just kind of top off the evening. They have some desserts there too that are really excellent as well, and just kind of fulfill your evening with some more small plates and not necessarily needing a whole sit-down full meal.
Sure.
Or if you can't land that reservation. So just some options for you. So that's my look at a possible, some ideas for a foodie immersive vacation. Well, I'd love to hear what your next immersive vacation or day would be.
All right. I'm kind of going on an opposite track, and here I'm going to put coonskin hat right there. and I'm wearing a t-shirt actually to go with. So going on a rustic or kind of Old West kind of theme vacation can be a lot of fun at Walt Disney World. And going with the same format that I used before, starting with the stay. Where would you stay for this? And obviously, Fort Wilderness Cabins is one that we would highly recommend, or at the Wilderness Resort. Both really give you that appreciation right from the start when you arrive of the appreciation for the outdoors and et cetera. So
very natural, rustic setting. And so I'll focus mainly on Fort Wilderness Cabins, although, as I said, Fort Wilderness Resort has a lot of the same type of activities or elements that you can access. Yeah, Wilderness Lodge. Sorry about that. So that you can access as well. So I get confused with those two. I'm always messing that up too. Fort Wilderness Lodge.
Yes.
If I don't say it wrong every time, it's amazing.
So we've stayed at the cabins quite a bit. We love them, obviously, because of the ease and convenience that you get of having a full kitchen, having, a living room area that's spacious, having more areas for sleeping if you have other family members or whatever people with you. So there's a lot of convenience associated with that, having a picnic table outside your cabin and a way to do charcoal grilling, and that's all cleaned up for you on a daily basis, etc. So we love the cabins, but starting out again with the lobby, when you first arrive there, the lobby is a rather simple looking building, which really gives you that comfortable feeling. And what I've noticed about that going in and just observing is that is the lobby that kids love. I think that's the one that they feel the most comfortable in because it just has that rustic feel.
It's not overwhelming. I mean, some of the lobbies can be really big and there's a lot of desks and a lot of space.
Exactly.
This is small and quaint.
Or it feels like everything around might break.
Right.
And like
Floridian.
Right. Yeah. And like the other lobbies where they have a sitting area with the smaller chairs and tables and playing cartoons on the TV. That's available there as well. But it does have all the services that you would expect at any of the lobbies, starting with, first of all, the check-in. And you can do advanced check-in and depending on how your reservation works out, you might actually just be assigned your cabin number that you don't even have to go for check-in. You can go directly to the cabin that you've reserved. But anyways, it does have other things that you would expect. It has a concierge desk where you can get your tickets, etc., and get help with arranging dining reservations, etc. But they also have some services that you don't get at other resorts. One being is that you can go there to rent a golf cart.
Yeah, we've done that.
Yes. And so they're really helpful there, especially on the more busy times of the year. You want to reserve a golf cart. If you're really planning to do that, you want to do that in advance. You can go online, get the phone number and make that reservation. but it's a nice convenience to have there. Obviously not available right now, but hopefully it will be returning, as that's the same location where you would do your check-in for the airlines and handling of your luggage,
Right.
etc. But the other service that they provide that you don't get at all the resorts is if you want to rent a car. Let's say you've taken Magical Express to get there and your stay is on property, so you haven't needed a car, but you want to then get a car to do something else later, or part of your trip you want to explore, the Central Florida area. You can rent a car from the location that's on property, and they will come to Fort Wilderness Cabins.
It's so easy to do.
I know.
I do it all the time.
For pickup right there at the lobby entrance. And so we would just recommend that you arrange the pickup time the day before.
Yes, at least the day before.
Right. But they will provide that service, and that's not available at all the resorts. So it is a nice convenience if you do want to rent a car, that you can get that pickup right there at that resort. And obviously there's things we've talked about at other shows about this resort that might not make it the most convenient in terms of getting around. But if you want that good old country or rustic kind of, rustic chic kind of experience, this is a location that you would really love. And you're at Walt Disney World Resort, but you're not also among all the hustle and bustle. You have that quiet time. You have that feeling of home in your cabin, and your ability to, kind of detach and just, be able to share family time. And that's where we find, using the picnic table outside, or, you have a full table inside as well. But,
if it gets a little too hot or it gets stormy.
Exactly. But, to have that kind of comfort there around you. So,
It's just nice because one of the reasons we like it, one, it's like having a 1-bedroom suite for one thing.
Right.
But also because these cabins aren't they're next to one another, but they're separated by a good, 20 feet, 30
At
feet,
least, yeah.
whatever it is. It doesn't feel like you have somebody right next to you on the wall next to you.
Right.
You feel a little bit more separated. You have a little bit more privacy almost in many regards. And so it's kind of nice in that way.
Right. And there's a lot of trees around and
a lot of nature. Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of a lot of nature, it's not uncommon to see deer going around.
All the time.
Yeah. So it's really, a different kind of a experience to stay at that resort than what you would get at some of the other, even though there's theming, but you are actually in nature.
Yeah, we're DVC members, so we'll usually use our points at some resort to stay, but that's one of the places that we will actually spend cash on because we like the way those are laid out so much.
Right, exactly. So getting into where to eat when you want to have this rustic immersive experience. In the parks, you could have that southwestern flair at Pecos Bill's. Pecos Bill Tall Tale and Cafe. That's at the park. Also, what we tend to like, it's inside Wilderness Lodge. Well, on the property of Wilderness Lodge is the Geyser Point Bar and Grill.
Favorites.
Yeah.
One of our favorites.
It really is. I mean, it's got really great hearty food. They have the grab and go now for that, but that's kind of nice because again, then you can just, get your food and you're seeing beautiful nature and sceneries around you to experience while you're having that nice meal.
Yeah, right there on Bay Lake, so you get great views of the water. It's just a really comfortable place to sit outside. The geyser will go off every once in a while in the background too, as a geyser point. It's just a really fun spot, and they have great food and wonderful drinks, good beer list, good cocktails. It's a nice spot.
Yeah, it really is. Then also available now still is at Wilderness Lodge is the Whispering Canyon Cafe. They have breakfast, lunch, and dinner served there. You can order either all you can eat or what are they? All you care to eat skillets. And they also have some a la carte dishes as well. It's one of those kind of like rip-roaring kind of fun places to go, especially kids. They love it. They love the atmosphere, the sing-alongs, the cast members, have quirky names and just really put a lot into making this a fun experience. But again, it's kind of like your Old West theme kind of resort and restaurant.
Yeah.
So we just adore that kind of a vacation.
For sure.
You know.
So much.
So there are some other eateries that currently aren't open that we would recommend in this type of immersive experience. And one of our favorites is Trailends Restaurant. That's at Fort Wilderness. That's typically a buffet style menu, and typically breakfast and dinner only. The brunch on the weekends, though, I think we have always felt is just well worth the money. Great dishes, good home style cooking.
Hearty food, wonderful smoked meats and fried chicken, and of course your typical egg dishes and Mickey waffles, of course, the things you would expect and things that the kids will love as well. But they have pizzas, and it's just a really, really nice spot. And if you're looking for a really hearty home style brunch, it's great.
Right. You know what? I forgot to mention another eatery that you can enjoy now is the P&J.
The takeout.
Mm-hmm.
The Southern Takeout. P&J Southern Takeout.
Right. And we love that place. Yeah. I mean, that's like we've mentioned in the past. It's one of our traditions when we're staying on property there is to have our first night meal having that good Southern fried chicken.
Yeah. And on the sides and everything else. Usually, like I said, we've been either traveling all day or we red-eyed in and maybe we had a little park time, but we're a little tired. So just a nice, quick and fulfilling meal that says, hey, you're back at the Walt Disney World Resort.
And another one in the park that we're hoping to open again soon is the Diamond Horseshoe Review. That has the show associated with it. Also has an all-you-can-eat menu if you choose that, and that's a fun way to have that experience while you're at the parks. But then also away from the parks is, and again, we're really keeping our fingers crossed for this one to come back soon, is the Hoop-de-Doo musical review. Yeah. And that's been there since the beginning, and it's still a very popular dinner show. Popular. Nightly dinner shows. A lot of nights, 2, sometimes 3 shows a night. It's, like I said, it's been running since the 70s and still has drawn in people year after year. And we are really, like I said, hoping for our next trip in February that this is going to be back because we want to make reservations for this with our great friends.
Yeah, with Rob and Kim. We're very excited to experience it with them. So we're hoping that it will be back in time for us to get to do that.
Right. Because you haven't done it.
I have not done it. I'm the one out of the group of us that has not done it.
You'll enjoy it. You'll for sure.
I'm sure I will. I like that kind of stuff.
So going now on to activities for this immersive rustic vacation. In the parks, obviously you wouldn't want to miss those loving characters of the Country Bear Jamboree.
Oh, for sure.
And then head over to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and, take a trip over to Tom Sawyer's Island. I mean, I think those are all, things that you could do that really keeps that theme of a rustic vacation for you. If you're looking for some real unique, let's say Native American or Western kind of gifts that you want to bring home, they do have the Frontier Trading Post little shop there at Frontierland. Outside the parks, right now you can even still go horseback riding and they take you through some really scenic wooded areas of the Fort Wilderness Resort property, which is really awesome to do that. I mean, it's not like running horseback riding. It's slow trotting, but it's
not even slow trotting. It's just it's a walk.
Right. But I mean, you're on horses, and they're the Walt Disney World horses, and you get to see where they're kept and groomed, etc. And it's just kind of fun to do that.
It's something
experience.
different. We've done lots of different stuff at Disney. Something different that maybe you haven't experienced before, and that the kids will like.
That's right. So, if you want to have a time to just have like some slow downtime, you can go to Crockett's Tavern. That has some really fun places to sit out there. They do have some of our favorite moonshine out there.
Our favorite.
Literally.
Like we have a lot of moonshine.
I know.
We try all sorts of moonshine, but they have our favorite.
Another fun activity in the evening, you can join in on the Chippendale sing-along, and that is always fun by the campfire and make some s'mores and enjoy a movie. And that's really an enjoyable activity that we love and cherish when we are out there. And some other activities that currently aren't open that would follow through this theming is you could take a canoe ride on the very serene waters over at Fort Wilderness as well. You could also do a kayak too, but canoe seems more the theme.
Yeah.
That's right. We talked about horse-drawn carriage rides, which you could do that, or wagon rides, especially as I mentioned along the holiday time in the winter. It's just spectacular to see the lights that people put up.
Yeah,
and
the
decorations.
It's one thing I also, when you're talking about Fort Wilderness and the Wilderness Lodge, is that they're, to me, their holiday decorations are, they're the two best spots.
That's true.
Possibly in the, outside of maybe some of the parks.
Right.
But as far as the resorts and throughout Disney, the Walt Disney World Resort, I love the way they decorate both Fort Wilderness and the Walt Disney World Resort.
Right. What's really cool, well, they do it at both resorts. We've seen on some balconies at Wilderness Lodge some decorations as well, but at Fort Wilderness, people who, whether they're staying at the cabins or bringing their own trailers, they decorate.
They go out.
Unbelievable.
They go all out.
It
it's
is
one of the most underrated things to do during the holiday season is to just head over to Fort Wilderness, take the boat over from one of the parks or the resorts or whatever, and just go and cruise around and check out how people decorate their campsites, their trailers, their cabins, because it's
amazing.
They plan it all out all year. This is like their big family vacation, and they do it every year, and they totally deck it to the nines.
Yeah, they decorate it as if it was their house, and it is amazing fun to do that. Talk about winter wonderland. Yes. And another activity we're hoping to be able to participate in the future is moseying on up to the Territory Lounge inside Wilderness Lodge. It's just a really nice, quiet. It's one of those underrated little lounges that a lot of people just bypass, and so you can easily get a table there. In the holiday season, they have drinks that are themed with the holidays as well. So we tend to really enjoy that as well. So. Anyways, that is my review of a rustic, Old West type of vacation to have.
I love it.
I think either my mouth is getting tired or my brain or both.
Like I said, there's so much to go through here on these days or these vacations if you want to experience them in certain ways that we've gone obviously through a lot of these. So I'm going to breeze through my last one really quickly because pretty much because
I talked too much. I'm sorry.
No, I did too. I went through all that food. No, I think this is all great information. I think people are going to love it. But I think if you're talking about in my last one is, of course, as you may have noticed from the last episode, I am a Star Wars fan. And one of the great things you can do at both, not only the Walt Disney World Resort, but also the Disneyland Resort, is you can do a wonderful Star Wars immersive themed day, especially now with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge being open. You can really have an incredible time. Now, once Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser opens, and if you have enough money in your bank and you can get the reservation, that looks like that will be the ultimate in immersion in a Star Wars fully vacation, or at least a couple day vacation. Right. But that's not open yet, and we don't know if we'll be able to get a reservation, and we don't know if we can afford it. But we are going to do it somehow or another, whether we can afford it or not. We'll take out a loan, whatever we need to do, but we're going to do that. But as far as actually just doing a day either at Disneyland and the Walt Disney World Resort, they're pretty much the same when you approach it, with some slight differences near the end. But the first thing you want to do is, whether you're heading to the Disneyland Park or Disney's Hollywood Studios, is get there early. Make sure your tickets are tied to your My Disney Experience app, because you want to get there right at rope drop to be sure and secure that Star Wars Rise of the Resistance boarding group. Because believe me, it's going to blow your socks off when you actually go on it for the first time. or even if you've been on it for the first time when you go on it again, because it's amazing storytelling. It's one of the most amazing attractions, if not the most amazing attraction you'll ever experience, especially for a Star Wars fan. If you don't get there in time for the early boarding group, there still are some chances later on in the day, but I haven't heard great things about necessarily it being available or being able to land it secure for sure. So your best bet is just to get there early, and you're spending a Star Wars day anyway, so why not knock it out and just be there at the beginning. So then you also want to either and this is going to be when fast passes are back again, either book that fast pass for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run before you get there for some point during the day, or if you're there at Rope Drop, you can usually head straight to it and the wait time won't be so bad. You want it, I mean, believe me, at some point as a Star Wars fan, you're going to want to fly the Millennium Falcon.
Well, I was just going to say, we've done it both with a fast pass and without, and the queue is just phenomenal.
It is a good queue.
When we've gone through as a fast pass and missed a lot of things, we've like, oh wow, next time. So yeah, even if you do have to wait a little bit, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, it's not so bad when you're in there. You can even use your data pad with the Play Disney app on there and play a few games while you're in there. And there's lots of great things to see, including great views of the Millennium Falcon itself. That just really cool detail you can take in. But once you get there and you do get the chance to fly the Millennium Falcon, be sure, especially if it's your first time doing it, to ask to be the pilot. Because really, I mean, yes, being a gunner, fine. Being an engineer, fine. Really, to experience it, you want to fly the Millennium Falcon, right? I mean, yeah, that is what it's all about for the first time, and that's where it's the most fun. So, but understand that they can't guarantee that for everybody.
No, but if you ask, you will probably get it.
It depends how busy it is, whether they can actually move things around. But
just ask. It can't hurt. They will try their best efforts to make sure that you get to be a pilot if you ask. Like I don't mind waiting another group if someone doesn't mind, going ahead of me. And I'll be a pilot in the next group or whatever. So
of course, right now it's just your single party anyway, so you will likely, unless you're with 3 or 4 people and everybody wants to be pilot.
That's true. Yeah, right now you're pretty easily, they're not putting groups together within the cockpit there. It's just going to be your group, so you're probably okay. Once you get done flying the Millennium Falcon, or if you are waiting for that fast pass later, be sure to go by Ronto Roasters and get that breakfast Ronto wrap, eggs, sausage in a wrap. It's really, really tasty and really, really good, and you'll enjoy it. It's a great breakfast. Then maybe head over to the marketplace to do a little Batuan shopping, because they have lots of interesting and unique things to go through there that you'll want to check out. Then, hopefully your boarding group's being called by now, but either way, remember, once your boarding group gets called, you have 2 hours until you need to get there. But I highly recommend you getting there, especially because it will tend to break down every once in a while, because there's so many intricate things involved around Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. But you should go as soon as your boarding group happens, and then go get your mind blown by it, because it will. Your Star Wars loving mind will be blown by Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Then once you've taken that, maybe you journey out of Batuu for a little bit and head over to Star Tours. The adventure continues, whether you have a fast pass, or a lot of times the wait time won't be so bad. So you can go there and check out Star Tours. And it's old school, but it's great. Visiting these lands, a lot of times now they have some of the scenes from the newer films, Star Wars films, which are always interesting to check out. Once it opens back up, now it's not going right now, but once it happens again, assuming that they open up Launch Bay again, go check out the Star Wars Launch Bay, and they offer so many unique props and stuff that are used for the films, or mock-ups of things that were used in the films. Always fun to check out, and you can meet some of your favorite characters there as well. Then head back over to Batuu to Black Spire Outpost, and you have a couple of options for lunch if you want. You can get a Ronto wrap again, another wonderful option, or head over to Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo, more of an expanded, diverse menu. Then spend the afternoon, using the Play Disney app on your data pad and help the Resistance, or if you're more on the dark side, help the First Order, or if you're kind of in between, that's fine too. You can go on your own and check out all the different games there are to play throughout there, and run into some of the fun characters like Chewbacca, like Rey, maybe Kylo Ren, some of the stormtroopers that are around there, and just kind of explore throughout there. But be sure and stop by Doc Undar's Den of Antiquities to check out all the interesting things that he's collected from his journeys across the galaxy. And maybe you can even make a purchase or two while you're there. There's some cool stuff to buy there. If you have a few extra credits to spend, well, you can't go wrong with building your own lightsaber at Savi's workshop. I hear that experience is amazing. Or, you could also maybe, if you're looking for a little companion, go to the Droid Depot and build your own droid. Yeah. Be sure and have your reservations going in to stop by Oga's Cantina for a little happy hour, maybe some exotic drinks while jamming out with DJ Rex while you're there. Then it's time to head over to Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo for dinner. I love the braised shack roast, which is a beef roast. That's really good. But they have the Felucian spread. There's just lots of great, interesting dishes. The tip yip, if you're more of chicken. They have a shrimp noodle dish there that's really good as well. Go check it out. Now, how this differs from Disneyland to the Disney's Hollywood Studios at the Walt Disney World Resort are a couple, usually in the evenings. Now, if you want to go and fully have this Star Wars immersive day and you're at Disney's Hollywood Studios, you want to wrap up the day by finding that great spot once they get this going again, assuming they're going to, in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater for Star Wars or Galactic Spectacular, because it's an amazing show, fireworks, lasers, projections that will blow your mind. It's so great. Again, if you have a few extra credits burning a hole in your pocket, feel free to do the dessert party, which will get you a premium location there, as well as a lot of tasty snacks and beverages
and
to
characters.
Enjoy. Now, if you're at Disneyland, they don't have a specialized Star Wars nighttime spectacular, but once they do get fireworks going again, head out at Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo to that kind of overlook there where you're looking at the Millennium Falcon, and look up when it comes fireworks time, because it's one of the greatest spots you're going to find to watch the fireworks launch up over the spires of Black Spire Outpost. Highly recommend it. Yeah, it's a great spot and one that not a lot of people know about as far as that. And then, a lot of times it clears out there so you can run right in and do Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run again. So that's just kind of a quick run through of how you can spend an immersive Star Wars day. Lots of ways to do that, but those are kind of just some suggestions that I have for you. And like I said, there's so many possibilities for an immersive day at the Disney Resort. Especially if you're at Disney California Adventure Park, and definitely when Avengers Camp opens, you want to do a superhero day. You can definitely do that there. Classic Disney Day, which I'm going to get into a little bit more when I get into my tip of the day later on. Maybe a Pixar day would be great. There's lots of ways to do a day just enveloped in Pixar again, especially at Disney California Adventure Park. Or a thrill ride day. There are lots of great thrill rides. If you just want to, ride roller coasters and thrill rides till you puke, you can definitely do that. And there's so many different ways that we didn't even explore here. And we'd love to hear yours. What are your favorite ways to have kind of an immersive day or vacation while at either the Disneyland Resort or the Walt Disney World Resort or any of the parks that you enjoy? So great job, Michelle.
Likewise, sweetie.
So please, let us know what your favorite ways are. You can hit us up on our email, our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear from you. So that was a lot of fun looking at the immersive types of days or vacations you can have there. And again, we'd love to hear from you as what you enjoy doing as well.
Most definitely.
So we've been long, so let's quickly get to the Disney stories of the week. And I'm going to start with the fact that one of the most hard-rocking bands of all time is reportedly set to redo one of its biggest songs for an upcoming Disney film. Now, this is really interesting. When I read this, it kind of blew me away a little bit. This from Collider.com. Metallica is working with Jungle Cruise composer James Newton Howard on an orchestral version of Nothing Else Matters. It'll play a key part in next year's Dwayne Johnson, Emily Blunt movie, the one that we're expecting this summer that unfortunately, like everything else, has been postponed, but I know we're really excited about. Yeah, so listen to this story. The idea of Metallica working on a Disney movie is sure to raise some eyebrows among longtime fans of the band, but it makes a lot more sense when drummer Lars Ulrich explains how it all came to be. Quote, "It really goes back to Disney production president Sean Bailey, who is a lifelong rock fan and is just all around one of the greatest, most friendly, generous, warm, and embracing people you'll find in the music business.
Wow.
I think he's always been a Metallica fan, and we've gotten to know each other well. My wife and I are big Disney fans, so there's a great friendship there, and he's always looked for the right match where there was a way that Metallica could contribute to some project of theirs. This was the right fit with Sean leading the cavalry and with James Newton Howard and his track record and what he's done. So if you don't know James Newton Howard he's an 8-time Oscar nominee, having been recognized for the films such as The Fugitive, Michael Clayton in The Village, and working with him, as Lars Ulrich said, was one of the major appeals to him being a part of this film. So here Ulrich goes on to say, quote, James Newton Howard, the man, the myth, the absolute legend. Considering what he's done, it's an absolute honor to have done this with him, and we're excited for the world to hear it. It's kind of an interesting morph because it's kind of, and I don't want to give too much of it away, but it's a very unusual morph in that it's kind of his arrangement of Nothing Else Matters, and we're playing it.
Oh, wow.
We wrote the song, but he took the song and rearranged it to fit something specific in the film, and obviously I'm not going to give any of that away, but we then kind of took on his version of it, and I think it's all that should be said. So he doesn't want to leave out too
quote,
much
right?
more. Yeah. End quote, excuse me. That's, so obviously he doesn't want to give too much away because it must be something very specific, but he
Right.
says it's kind of an orchestral version of that, kind of hard rockin' song, so really interesting. I never really thought we would hear Metallica being in a Disney film, but I'm fascinated to see how this works out now.
Yeah, it sounds really, really cool. I love it.
Yeah, so that's really, really cool news and interesting. And I thought, as soon as I saw that story, I'm like, I have to bring that up because I thought that's fascinating. So we as Michelle already alluded to a little bit of this within her topics of the day, we received an announcement of more dining options that are getting set to reopen at the Walt Disney World Resort. This from the Disney Parks blog. As part of our phased approach to reopening, Walt Disney World is adding more guest favorite dining choices this fall at Magic Kingdom Park and Disney's Hollywood Studios, which you'll definitely want to add to your fall dining must-do list. At Disney's Hollywood Studios, there's some Halloween fun in store at Hollywood and Vine, where Minnie's seasonal dining is set to return on September 25th. While it may look a little different than the last time you visited, you can get in the spooky spirit during Minnie's Hollywood Dine with a monster feast served at your table, where you will be able to wave and snap photos of your favorite characters such as Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse, and their friends. It's a boo-tastic time filled with Halloween decor and music, scary good food, and more. So that's fun.
It does sound fun. Yeah. I don't know if you have. I've done the holiday one, and it is a fun environment, and I'm so happy to hear that they're tying in the Halloween theme for this, and it sounds like it's going to be adorable.
Yeah, really cool. And again, more dining options, things opening up, and a way, obviously it's kind of from afar,
right,
but kind of a way to get, especially for the kiddos, to be able to experience some of the their favorite characters at the Walt Disney World Resort. So moving on, and Michelle already talked about this. Beginning September 24th, guests can enjoy dining at the enchanted fairy tale setting of Cinderella's Royal Table at Magic Kingdom Park. Enjoy a delicious regal banquet with unforgettable main courses ranging from roasted chicken breast and tenderloin of beef to chef's fish of the day. The princesses will be taking a break, unfortunately, from their royal duties, greeting guests. Maybe Michelle will be there. Greet her. But there will be plenty of delicious fare and fun to be enjoyed in this beautiful one-of-a-kind restaurant. So that's good. Again, another place that you can have a nice meal, especially right there in the castle. Very nice. Yeah.
Who doesn't want to eat in the castle?
Exactly. Moving on, both of these immersive dining experiences will be available for reservations on DisneyWorld.com and in the My Disney Experience app beginning on September 11th. Additionally, some more snack and quick service options are reopening soon. Gaston's Tavern at Magic Kingdom Park will return on September 4th, and the ABC Commissary at Disney's Hollywood Studios reopens for walk-in quick service for lunch beginning on October 8th. So more dining options coming back. We're starting to get there slowly, really slowly but surely. We'll get back to what we kind of know as normal. Finally, just want to wrap up with one more quick story, and that we now know when we'll be revisiting the Clan of Two in a galaxy far, far away. It's from StarWars.com. The story continues. Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company announced Wednesday that the second season of The Mandalorian will debut on October 30th, only on Disney Plus, of course. So that's exciting.
I know. So can't wait for that.
Yeah. Can't wait to visit the child, Baby Yoda, whatever you want to call them, and the Mandalorian and the whole crew again, and see where they're going to explore coming up for season 2, because season 1 was so darn good. Nominated for 15 Emmy Awards, as a matter of fact. So good. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation at the Walt Disney World Resort, someday again at Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, whatever the case may be. And we always start with Michelle because she has the very best tip. So let's get right to it. Here is Michelle's tip of the week.
My tip is really tiny this week, but it's
kind of like her.
Funny. It's really related to right now, if you have that opportunity to go to Walt Disney World throughout this holiday season, Halloween holiday season. And one is that at the Magic Kingdom now, even as adults, you can get dressed up in a costume. So my tip is take advantage of that.
Yeah,
we don't know.
That's a rarity.
Right, it's rare.
Outside of the actual, the not so scary.
Right.
That's rare.
Exactly. And, so you'll want to read what, the guidelines are for that, because like for an actual mask, that's for 14 and under, I believe, is the cutoff. But and you have to wear a mask. You have to wear a mask,
but not a full facial mask.
Right. So you'll want to know what their guidelines are for that. So once you get there, you can not have any issues. But take advantage of that. That's really cool. And really seek out photographers, because they have these like magical cameras there that can actually capture haunts that are in the park that you might not see.
You won't see them, but they're there.
Yeah, and their cameras can get that in your shot. So it'll be a really great keepsake and, have a nice memory. And lastly, associated with this time frame, and one that I've used many, many times, but really when they decorate for Halloween, it's great, and you want to be sure to look up, because there's some really spectacular things that are above eye level that you won't want to miss.
Well, I think I don't know if it was last year or the year before, we talked about when this is at the Disneyland Resort and taking the double-decker bus.
Right.
And we did it both ways, up and down Main Street, USA. And I just counted the jack-o'-lanterns that were posted above, way above eye level. So you have to actually look up to kind of see them. And I think I counted over 200 of them up there.
Yeah.
And that's how much they deck it out. It's incredible. So definitely.
And really unique faces in the jack-o'-lanterns, and just a lot of creativity. So you won't want to miss it. It's something that is really a treat.
Yeah, really is. So yes.
Not a trick.
Not a trick. It's both. It's a trick and a trick. Michelle's tip's always the best tip, especially her tip about looking up, which is her very, very, very best tip. So my tip is going to, since we were talking about immersive days, I'm going to revisit something I talked about a few weeks ago when we were talking about our Disneyland, 65th, looking back at 65 years of Disneyland around its birthday time. And that is kind of some of the classic attractions that were there opening day. So if you want to do like a classic day, an immersive day where you're just doing classic Disneyland stuff that was there from the beginning, from 1955, July of 1955, here are some of the things that you can do there, including some restaurants that still exist there that were there in 1955. So these are all attractions that were there on day one. Of course, Main Street USA, it still looks pretty much the same. And some things have changed about it, but for the most part, if you go look back at that pre-opening ceremony vid where, it wasn't even open yet at Disneyland, if you go on Disney Plus, it looks virtually the same.
Right, exactly.
So that's pretty much, that's a great start for it. Walt Disney's Disneyland Railroad was there opening day. Of course, the Jungle Cruise, the Mark Twain Riverboat, King Arthur's Carousel, the Mad Tea Party, Peter Pan's Flight, which is probably the first thing you want to hit up, because otherwise you'll be waiting there all day. No fast passes at Peter Pan's Flight at Disneyland. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Snow White's Scary Adventure, Casey Jr. Circus Trains, the Autopia, although, again, all these have probably changed slightly, but they were there to begin.
I mean, they're either the same or improved.
Right. And once we get back to things being normal, and of course, obviously it means Disneyland will be open again, I highly suggest doing the tour of the Take the Walk in Walt's Footsteps tour, and hopefully when they get it back open again and you can visit Walt's apartment is the key part of that. Now, if you're going to dine while you're there during the day, these are the restaurants that were open on day one back in 1955. The Plaza Inn it was the Plaza Pavilion restaurant, but it is still in the same location at the hub. The Golden Horseshoe is there. Again, there was a big show going on there. While there still is some stuff going on there, it's a little bit different now, but you still get a nice meal there. The Carnation Cafe used to be the Carnation Ice Cream Parlor, but it's the cafe, and they have really good food at the Carnation Cafe on Main Street, USA. And if you just want to grab a hot dog and a soda or whatever, the Coca-Cola Refreshment Center at the end of Main Street, USA. Also another great spot to just kind of pick up a quick meal and something that was there on day one. So those are all, if you want to just do a day that you're just saying, hey, I'm going to do stuff that I could have done
Real throwback.
on day one of Disneyland. These are all ways to explore. You just hit all these up and you're good to go.
Great tip, baby.
Thank you. So that's it for this week. Next week, well, we recently saw his special teaming up with the Walt Disney Museum to raise funds for underprivileged, aspiring young animators. We witnessed his team up with Howard Ashman to become one of the best songwriting teams in Disney history on the amazing documentary Howard on Disney+. More importantly, we've been dancing and singing his songs for decades now. He's an EGOT winner, a Disney legend, and we're going to honor him on our next show. It's going to be our Alan Menken appreciation show next week. We're going to talk a lot about his life, his all the things he's done with Disney and some things outside of Disney as well. And I'm sure we'll play a lot of his music, or at least portions of a lot of his music as well. So you will definitely want to tune in for that. And we would love to know some of your favorite Alan Menken written songs from the Disney library, and let us know, and we will share that on the show as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun topic.
It's going to be fun. We love Alan Menken so much, and we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you find podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there,
sign up for the newsletter.
Please sign up for the newsletter. We'll let you know what's going on in the Hyperion Adventures world. It's just kind of an extra way to stay in the know with what we've got going on.
Right. And as we've always said, we don't share that email with anybody. It's just to send the newsletter.
Yeah, and we don't clog your inbox either. It's just once a week. Usually comes out on Tuesday, midday somewhere, maybe on Wednesday occasionally, but usually on Tuesdays, and that's pretty much it. We don't send a bunch of stuff your way. It's just that one email once a week. You can also follow us on social media, where you have a great time with a lot of different people in the Disney community out on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. If you want to watch us for whatever reason, you want to see how pretty Michelle is, you want to see how goofy I am, but also we add a lot of pictures and a lot of different things to help with the storytelling while we're doing this podcast as a visual medium. You can find us on YouTube by just doing a quick search of Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Will come up, hit subscribe, and then anytime we have a new video, you will be the first to know. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, you can always hit us up on our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Right. And the other thing that we really love is hearing from you. So whether it's through our Gmail or with a review, we're really appreciative of that. And we always appreciate when you tell a friend about our podcast.
Yes, tell a friend. If you leave a review, even better. But mostly we just like being in touch with everybody who, listens, enjoys, or just involved in the Disney community in general. We just have a lot of fun. We've made so many wonderful connections through this podcast, so many great friends throughout the Disney community. We just love getting to know you better. So, please hit us up, whether it be on social media, whether it be through an email, whatever. Right. We just want to know who you are and really, and talk and have a great conversation. Yeah. So that's it for this week. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.